Welcome back, gamers, to the Gamers of the Eastern Fringe podcast, a podcast all about enjoying your hobby. So, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Matt.
And again, friends, we are part of the Gamers of the Eastern Fringe network. So, as we get started, again, it's good to see you all. And Matt, how was your Christmas, man?
Wonderful. Very wonderful. How was yours?
It was really good. I say the family and I enjoyed it. Again, having two little ones under 5. It is kind of a magical time of year. It's not so much about us getting cool and neat stuff. It's about seeing the sparkle in their eyes. So we had an awesome one. And friends, we hope the same for you. Whatever holiday you were celebrating, that you enjoyed it with loved ones all around you, and maybe even got something fun as well. So with that, we like to always begin with our little hobby check-in and how you doing. So we've done the how you doing. So Matt, how are things in the hobby world over on your end?
Good, very good. I've started slowly amassing my collection of corn for the World Eaters drop here in a few months. I'm hoping mid-February. I'm hoping, but we'll see. I picked up some corn demons. I've got some regular Chaos Space Marine kits that I'm going to use for conversions. I've got some friends feeding me some Space Marine kits, which I'm going to joyfully chop to bits and corrupt, and we'll have a good time once that codex comes out.
Absolutely. I was going to say, friends, if you haven't followed up on what Matt's dropping here, is of course, we know that there's going to be a unique World Eaters Codex coming down the pike sometime in the first quarter of 2023. So we're staring at it, folks. Just a couple months away. So folks like Matt and many others are pumped to get their hands on something really cool, dedicated to Khorne, and of course, all about some blood for the Blood God and skulls for the Skull Throne. So we're getting there. Well, on my end, a couple things to share in terms of personal hobbying. Did a bit of Christmas building and painting for my brother. His girlfriend and I worked jointly on some Tau for him, so he got some old metal broadsides. I think you could appreciate that, Matt. The old ones that were basically crisis suits with some extra gear slapped onto them.
Yeah, I actually have a few sitting next to me ready to be painted. So
there you go. So yeah, got a little trio of those done up for him, and so he's got them ready for the when he decides to go, for a meme list of all rails. Oops, sorry. He's going to do it one day to me. For personal hobbying, otherwise, I'm dipping my toes into Gene Stealer cults. Apparently, I'm just a glutton for punishment when it comes to like horde armies, because I have orcs, I have guard, and now I'm just going to go like guard adjacent with Gene Stealer cults. But just intrigued me. Was reading up on some things, and I just kind of like some of the mechanics they have. So I'm cautiously dipping my toes in, because with a new edition on the horizon, it may drastically change the army, or we might hit the rumored reset button and have to wait another couple of years before an army gets its codex. So we'll see. But just enjoying some early stuff in building and painting. I'm also working on some Chaos Knights, because one of the things we have here in the Lehigh Valley that's happening in the way of events is Cloud City is running a 40K escalation league, and so yours truly is deciding to field some Chaos Knights that I got back in May as part of their army box set. So I got myself a ton of war dogs on my hobby desk right now, in various stages of building and magnetizing, to hopefully go wreck some face in the name of whatever chaos god they happen to be aligned with.
Better be Khorne. It better be Khorne.
It better. Well, hey, the Blood Shield, blessing is pretty sweet. Being able to shut somebody's invul off, yeah, that'll do. Well, all right, friends, as always, we encourage you to also be, fighting that battle against that pile of shame or opportunity or whatever it is you call it. And just, keep hobbying and enjoy it, most importantly. So, Matt, we got a couple quick topics to cover here today. So you want to run the listeners through what we're going to be hearing today?
Yes, so we're gonna go through some of the recent news for 40K. We've got we're gonna hit on the Arks of Omen preview and the juicy changes coming there. We're gonna talk about the Space Marine box sets that they teased, in addition to the 2 that came with the Christmas box sets. I'm not sure if they're gonna keep those in rotation. I would hope that they would, but we'll see. And then, of course, we're going to hit on some news for our own Winter's Ruin GT in Copley, PA. And then we're going to round out the podcast with our best of and worst of 2022 and kind of lean on some predictions and wish lists for 2023.
Hell yeah, man. All right. So let's get into it. So, of course, as Matt just said, we did see some pretty cool Christmas boxes. Of course, kind of hard to find them right now, especially if you're an Imperial Knights or an aspiring Imperial Knights player. You're not really finding that box anytime soon. They've been sold out, and people have been trying to get them online every which way. But let's talk about that Arks of Omen. So if you haven't been seeing on Warhammer Community, GW has been previewing the new upcoming Grand Tournament Mission Pack, which is called Arks of Omen. It's following Vashtor, this new kind of high-ranking demon that's specifically grounded in a lot of technology, corrupt technology, of course. And he's teaming up with Abaddon the Despoiler to bring some awfulness to the galaxy. And the story will at least follow that type of stuff. But the main thing from the preview they had, in addition to the setting, was, of course, a new detachment. So we're going to show it now on the screen for your viewing pleasure in case you haven't seen it. And we'll link this particular article in the video description. But Matt, what were your first impressions about this Arks of Omen detachment?
Immediately, knee-jerk reaction, greatest thing I've ever seen. To me,
yeah.
To me, this is 110%. This is what Warhammer was missing. So you kind of see, like, I started playing Warhammer again when you got all of those different kinds of detachments in 8th edition, right? So we had the Vanguard detachment, the Spearhead, Outrider. Yep. And then 9th edition rolls around. They didn't like the soup lists that were being made. They didn't like the detachment spamming for command points. So you effectively in 9th edition for the longest time have been being punished for running a Vanguard, Outrider, Spearhead detachment.
Correct.
Well, now this Arks of Omen detachment rolls around, and guess what? It's whatever detachment you want. It's all right there. It's beautiful. Look at it.
And gorgeous. It costs zero. It costs zero.
Love it.
Because, of course, they have been alluding to we're not really getting more CP. We're not going back to you start at 12. But if you're starting at 6 and pay nothing for the detachment, that means you can shove that CP into pregame strats. You can do that for relics, warlord traits, anything you want. But no, same as you, Matt, I was very pleased at this because to me this gives all the flexibility you could ever desire in list construction, especially for those armies. We were just talking about Knights of all varieties. This one has a Lord of War slot that you can field as the required. So you can drop an HQ plus other Lords of War, and you're just ready. You don't have to pay for a super heavy auxiliary that you have to arrange in a very specific way according to your Imperial or Chaos Knights Codex. You just bring whatever you want. Which honestly I think is the best way to summarize my feelings about this Arks of Omen detachment. You just bring what you want, and you can. I was trying really hard before the show to think about an army that wouldn't want to bring 3 of one of these particular, slots. Like, you wouldn't want to bring 3 elites or 3 fast attack, 3 heavies, 3 troops. And I was really hard pressed to think of any that wouldn't want to bring 3 of something. I don't really, Matt, can you think of any army that would only want to bring 2 of each of these, but not a third?
So not necessarily wouldn't want to bring 2, but not a third, but you'd be better off using just like the traditional troops choices is, at least in my opinion, Drukhari. The best units for Drukhari are currently at least sitting in the troop choice slot. Yeah. So there's no reason not to just keep doing what you've been doing and taking 2 HQs and 3 troop choices or a bunch of like patrol detachments, because they're not punished for multiple patrol detachments. As long as your warlord is an Archon, you can take 3 total patrols for free. So that, in my opinion, is the only army that probably won't want to do this. But if you gave me more time to think about it, I could come up with a pretty good reason why they should.
There you go. So again, friends, what you're seeing on the screen is the new detachment. So it requires you to bring, 1 HQ. Someone's got to lead your force, and then any of the 3 things listed here. So any 3 troops, any 3 elites, fast attack, heavy support, or Lords of War. You just need to, bring 3 of one of those things, and then you unlock the rest of this. Matt and I were talking in the pre-show that this is now the option where you can bring 12 units of troops if you so incline. So if you're a Drukhari player, a Astra Militarum, Genestealer cult, any infantry heavy army where the troops are actually really good and what you want to spam, you can do a lot of damage now. And the other cool thing, of course, is what you see down here in the little text box, that elite characters have kind of an exemption from the elites role because certain armies are very character heavy that are not in the HQ spots. So this allows you to bring both HQs as well as other characters without them also competing for other elite forces that you may be trying to field. And of course, the same rule as before about dedicated transports. You can include one for each infantry unit taken. Note it's infantry, not troops. So, if you have infantry in elites, fast attack, or otherwise, you can get yourself a lot of transports. Just be aware that at least according to the current missions pack, you have to start said transport with something in it. You can't just have an empty box transport taking up space. Not really thematic for the game we play. So, all right. So that is it for this cool detachment. Again, a lot of cool things coming. We've only seen this little teaser of what Arks of Omen will truly include in the way of other things. But that detachment certainly was a delicious morsel to chew on recently. The other thing that Matt had alluded to, we have some new boxes coming out. So there was the Christmas battle boxes, which are a standard thing each year, but there is also these new Marine boxes that were previewed a couple of days ago. So there's 4 of them, each of them following one of the factions of the Emperor's beloved Space Marines. So, Matt, you want to take one, and then I'll take the next. So
yeah, we can bounce back and forth on them. So the first one, of course, is our Iron Hands Iron Strike Force. If you've already got a pretty substantial Marines army, I think for me, this is the one that I would pick up. You get one character that if you don't play Iron Hands, you kind of might not need, but a little chopping and it just becomes a second Tech Marine, at least in my opinion. So you're getting 10 Intercessors, 2 Dreadnoughts, and 2 Tech Marines. And at least in my experience, these are some of the nastiest things in the game, these Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Yes, they are.
I don't claim to be a competitive wizard, but I've had nothing but trouble when I play against them. So
yeah, they smack pretty hard. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. If friends, if you're looking just to supplement your existing Space Marines force, this is a great way. Everything is Primaris here. So you'd have 2 Primaris Tech Marines if you decide not to run Iron Hands, but in this configuration, why not? It means everybody can run around and do nasty things. Good stuff. Next one up is the beloved Salamanders, these, fire drakes from the moon of Prometheus. And, or Nocturne, sorry, folks. Promethium is what they spill out of the flamers. Nocturne is the moon. Thank you. So the Salamanders. So what you got here, friends, of course, you have the named character, Agdrax Agatone, leading the force. Then you also have plenty of Intercessors, which you'll see is a theme throughout these boxes. You kind of need them as your baseline troops. You also then have a unit of 3 Aggressors, a unit of 3 Eradicators. So you got yourself a pretty nice force here. So definitely something nice to pick up if you're interested in those. So this to me is kind of a really nice all-rounder, much like the box before it. If you're into Space Marines and you're looking to just supplement from one of these boxes with a bit of a discount, Eradicators are great. They can kill most things in a turn. They can focus fire something down really, really well. They're good. Aggressors, they're not as powerful as they used to be. They don't have their double shoot mechanic that really was the way to field them before. But you got some basic Intercessors which will do work in most phases of the game, give or take. So that is always good to see. But in addition to that, we do have our next box, which is the White Scar. Matt, go ahead.
Before we get into it, I'm gonna put a pin right here. We're gonna look at the art of this box because
let's look at it.
GW has been doing a thing lately where they've been letting characters kind of match the art of their respective codexes. So when you look at the Eldar Codex, there is an Autarch on the cover of the Eldar Codex with a particular loadout that upon the release of the Codex was not legal. The Eldar community threw a little temper tantrum. I was part of it. I threw my little temper tantrum, and now it is legal to run the loadout from the cover of that codex. Fast forward to the Chaos Space Marine Codex. They made a point in the article to say you will be able to run your Chaos Lord with the loadout that is on the cover of the Chaos Space Marines Codex.
There we go.
So if you look at your Storm of Chagoris box art, you see a very lovely White Scars Space Marine wielding 2 chain swords or chain sabers. They look a little curvy to be a chain sword to me. Either way, to my knowledge, this is not currently a legal loadout, but if the trend sticks, there's a possibility that with Space Marines 2.0 in the next few months here, you'll have a very slashy, choppy, hacky, stabby, double chainsword Space Marine.
And who doesn't want that? I mean, seriously, in a force that moves as quickly as the White Scars, why wouldn't you want double chain swords, giving you additional attacks, especially when you get into that all favorite, third stage of combat doctrines, when you like being in the assault phase and doing lots and lots of nasty stuff. Matt, if we're being crazy, there's also some drop pods in the back. And if all these guys are Primaris, wouldn't that mean that those Primaris are coming down via drop pod?
Ooh, I didn't even think about it.
Just throwing it out there, GW, because clearly you're listening to our fledgling podcast. But please let's use those beloved drop pods. They're an iconic transport unit in the game. Let's let the Primaris finally hit your ride in those things, or just give us Primaris drop pods. That too. All right, so Matt, what do we see here? What do we got going on?
Well, you mentioned moving quickly, so we've got 2 squads of Outriders, 2 of the ATV Invader ATVs, a chaplain on a bike, and our poor Khan walking approximately 12 inches behind all of them on the table. Poor man. Poor man doesn't have his bike, but again, kind of the same thing as Iron Hands for me. If you are looking to supplement your Space Marines army with some fast-moving, speedy, fast-attack units, or you want to really lean on that new Arks of Omen detachment and give yourself a fast-moving detachment with all bikes, this is definitely the one to pick up. You can see why. That's a lot of wheels. And then same thing, you can kind of just do a little chopping and bit swapping and kit bashing, and then the Khan doesn't have to look like the Khan, and he's not sad that he doesn't have his bike anymore. He's just another guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Never mind that Death Skull that stole his ride out from underneath him. Just get him some wheels, folks. He deserves it. All right. Last but certainly not least, we have the picture, the poster boys of our beloved hobby friends, which is, the Ultramarines. So they have the Scions of McCrag box set, which is also coming out. Now, this one is probably the most, faction specific of the boxes, whereas the others, you could kind of swap out most of the components, save for their named characters, and use them however you wish. This one has a couple things that make it specifically Ultramarines. What you see here, in the middle of it, you have 2 named HQs that you can use only as Ultramarines, and that is Marneus Calgar, as well as Chief Librarian Tigurius. Of course, both of these are purely Ultramarines, and while you could use Tigurius as a fancy librarian, he kind of has all his buffs being the character that he is. Same thing with Marneus Calgar. There's been a lot of debate about him or Gilliman in most Ultramarines list. Now, he is flanked on either side by his special Vicatrix guard. Fantastic things that will bodyguard, but also mess you up if you decide to go after their lord. It's also further supplemented by combat with a unit of, oh goodness, help me out here, Matt.
Blade Guard veterans.
Blade Guard vet. There it is. There's the word I'm looking for. In the back, you got a full unit of 10 Hellblasters, because if you want something dead, just overcharge and kill it. And then, of course, you also have some tried and true intercessors to balance out the unit. So that is, very much an Ultramarines, box. So if you are into that, if you like the basic color scheme, or just having, a very, very generic and agreeable set, you got it. But you got some awesome characters in there. So if you have an Ultramarines force that you don't have these guys yet, here's an easy way to get them. And that's the special box set, friends. So we got some other stuff to talk to you about before we get wrap this episode up. So again, be on the lookout for these boxes. Let us know if you like them, if you're planning on getting them, and if you're hyped as we are for the Arks of Omen detachment and what's still coming in that Grand Tournament pack, let us know on all of our socials or message us directly. All right, so Matt, we've been working hard behind the scenes here at GEF for something big, which we did preview recently in many a post and even a YouTube video. But let's tell these fine folks about the Winter Ruin GT that's coming up.
It's the Winter's Ruin GT, baby!
Woo!
We finally got it set up. We were trying for months and months and months to get a GT up and running. And now finally this spring, February 25th and 26th, 2023, we will be running the Winter's Ruin GT in Copley, PA. Tickets are on sale now. If you are watching this at the time of release, I believe you still have 10 days to get early bird, maybe 9 days to get those early bird ticket prices.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Which is great. We do have another, I forget what is in the premium package that we have, or even if it's called the premium package. I think there's a t-shirt in there.
There is.
Help me out. What else is there? Is it dice?
I feel like it might be dice. And I'll get it for you.
But yeah, so we've got 2 ticket packages. One of them comes with some event exclusive stuff, t-shirts, some other swag.
Here we go.
And then, like I said, those are discounted until January 8th. January 8th is the last day to get discounted ticket prices, and then those prices bump up.
Yes, they do. So yeah, friends, so we got the early bird, thing, so again, January 8th is when that ends. So if you want to get into the tournament for $65, get on that quick. So because we are located in the Lehigh Valley, we want to, give some homage to where we're from here in the Valley. So our premium package is called the Steel Bird, after that good steel mill that we have in Bethlehem. So what you get, of course, you get access to the GT, you get your ticket, plus you get a t-shirt, dice set, and objectives, all at the price point of $100. So you're getting, you're getting the regular ticket package at $75, and for an extra $25, you're getting a shirt, dice, and objective markers. That's pretty fantastic considering most of those items are not on their own just $25. So please get that. Those are still available. There's a limited number of the Steelbird tickets, so if you are interested in those, jump on that pretty quick. And please, friends, join us in Copley, PA. We're going to be rolling some dice for our first big tournament in the Lehigh Valley. So that's it, and you'll be hearing plenty more about this. GEF as a team is going to be putting out lots of other content about the tournament as we get closer. Anything from what to expect, what to bring, what to pack if you're new to the tournament scene, or just what to look forward to in this particular faction. Other things to note, friends, is that like most other early 2023 tournaments, we are eagerly awaiting a release date for Arks of Omen as a grand tournament mission pack, because that'll dictate a lot in terms of, which missions we're using and what rules and secondaries and points values, because that, of course, is going to be wrapped up in, the new points adjustments that we'll be seeing, that we're expecting as part of the ending of the current season of Nephilim into the new season, Arks of Omen. So keep an eye out for that. As a team, we're prepped and ready to unveil how we're handling that in our event mission pack. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll let you know. But we're very excited for it, especially for all the spicy goodness that most likely is coming in this new season. So, all right. Well, friends, as you know, at the time of recording, we're just a couple days away from the end of this year and the start of the next. So Matt and I had something fun to end the episode on, and that is some year-end best and worst, as well as some little predictions and wish listing for the new year in our hobby. So let me get things started, and then I'm going to hand things over to Matt. We'll start with we'll start with the best. We'll start with the glass half full, not empty. So I think one of the best things that came out of this past year of 2023 had to be the balanced data slate. Of course, some were duds and some were winners, to be sure, friends. Don't get me wrong, I'm not totally sold on it. The most recent one didn't do much at all, and GW even formally acknowledged that. But for me, things like, not being a person that plays a lot of factions that get armor contempt, that was kind of meh. But for me, orcs getting a very lore friendly but also play a big play boost with a changing to WA, not speed WA, but standard WA when you're on foot, giving us the durability boost for orcs, because invul saves were near non-existent, and orcs really don't have a great armor save with their t-shirts. So it really gave the army the boost it needed to be competitive. That was really great. And prior to the Guard Codex release, The Guard had its boost in the data slate, and that included the early preview of what would now be Born Soldiers in Hammer of the Emperor, which is just amazing. The ability to auto wound things. So your las cannons are now bringing down knights because you just force a ton of saves, and let's just see how well the dice gods favor your rolls today. So really, it was really cool to see all of that happening in real time via the data slate. So I really enjoyed that. But Matt, I hear you have a different feeling towards this data slate than I do.
So I agree like 95%. I think that the balanced data slate was very, very good for the state of the game and for the community. There was a lot of stuff got launched just real strong, real strong. I think if all of the codexes got left untouched, this edition would be very, very chaotic. And I think that the data slate was very good for reining all of that in. But I've harped on this 1,000,004 times, and I'm gonna make it 1,000,005. Give me back my airplanes. I can't survive with only 2. They're not that bad. Please give them back.
And honestly, with Arks of Omen, why not? Come on, just let's go crazy. Come on.
Let me run 12 planes. It's not that hard. I'll run Remora drones. They're not even good. I'm not good at this game. Let me have my airplanes.
I love it. And so sometimes, folks, it can be the best and the worst simultaneously. And I'm with you, Matt. I agree, especially for Tau Remora drones, because they come in a unit of 2 minimum. It kind of sucks that you're like, I'm maxed out on flyers, and I haven't even brought my Sunshark bomber because, I just wanted to bring the little stealthy guys.
It is what it is. Eventually, I'll get over it. But until then, I'm gonna complain.
That's all right. How about for you, Matt? Any other best of in this past year?
The models that came out this year for everything. The models for 40K, the models for Age of Sigmar. This has been an incredible year for sculpts. We saw resculpted Eldar units super early this year. I mean, yes, just announced today the Avatar of Cain won Miniature of the Year for 2022. I'm rambling because they were all so good. The list goes on and on. The models that were released this year were fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what we get in 2023 because they're just going to keep stepping it up. I feel like some of the sculpts that we had this year are miles and above anything that I've seen in years prior. So big win, GW modeling team.
Oh, absolutely. And Matt, you mentioned it. While we tend to focus purely on 40K, just because that's what Matt and I main. I mean, AOS has always had fantastic looking models. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, there's some models that are, 20 plus years old that are showing their age, but most of their stuff is really fantastic. Especially, we saw the new Chaos Demon print, which also works in 40K. And all of its various bits. I mean, that thing just looked properly chaotic for all the various things. Yeah.
I want to hit on it real quick because I love it so much. I think it comes with 6 different heads. There's armor options to have it with the bolter and without the bolter. It's got a sword and axe. You can have a pair of malefic talons if you didn't want the sword or the axe. You can have wings if you want wings. You don't have to have wings. And I know there's people out there who disagree me, but I love the tactical rock. More tactical rocks. I love tactical rocks. Put your foot on the rock. Heroic pose. It's fantastic.
I'm with you. I don't mind the tactical rocks. It saves me from having to find one that I can somehow model with the other foot not quite, level on the base now. So, yeah. The only other thing I had for best stuff was really the community, and that may sound cliche, like, oh, there you go, GEF podcast. But truly, I think one of the best things was for all the highs and lows from this season. When we had Drukhari kind of wrecking face month after month after month, even after successive nerfs. Really, the community ever evolving and being positive really was kind of the best thing going on there. So, hey, we always have an infinite amount of salt. I mean, the ocean, is nothing compared to the amount of salt that can be generated from our Warhammer community. But by the same token, like for all the salt and nasty takes on things, really, it was a great year. I thought, especially still kind of coming out of a pandemic in many spots, seeing a lot of events return. The community was positive. They were happy to be together. Events were going off. They're getting bigger than ever. We're seeing much better, hobby progress being shown in the armies, better sportsmanship, and just the camaraderie. It was great to see, from small events to large events. It just was great to hear and see our community at its best, coming together to finish up the year. So, bad eggs aside, that we can, of course, name and drop, but it was really, I thought one of the best things was our community showing off.
I agree. I completely agree. Community, big win. 10 out of 10, good community.
Yeah, so keep it up, community. Keep doing your thing. All right, which brings us to our worst stuff. We already kind of talked about kind of the disparity symptoms between data slates and how it handles things, but Matt, any things that are, kind of worse, the worst things of this, year that we saw in the hobby?
I think a lot of people in the community will probably agree with me on this one, but the lag between when a box set comes out and
yeah.
when the codex associated with the box set comes out, or when a box set comes out with a codex in it versus when the codex is officially released, or even when a box set comes out versus when the models in the box set are released by themselves. Looking at you, Chaos Demon Prince. It's been months. I want just the Demon Prince. I don't play Slaves to Darkness. I'm not paying $200 for a $60 model. I don't want to. But like, we've seen this problem pop up, honestly, since the beginning of 9th edition. Yeah. Like the Beast Snagga box came out with the Orc Codex in it, and I don't think the Orc Codex came out for another month and a half or 2 months.
Yeah, we certainly weren't the worst offender of the army boxes in terms of seeing our general codex coming out relatively soon after the army box set. But, definitely, as you said, I'm looking at you, Astra Militarum, like, that, the Cadia Stands box dropped around Thanksgiving, and yet we have no rumor at all of when the general codex is going to be dropping. Like, okay, fine. I can angrily await for a Rogaldorn tank to hit the shelves at some point after it's released. But, the inability for guard, generals to play their new codex at an event, we only have probably so many months left in this 9th edition. And because that has not been put up for a general release, major tournaments aren't allowing the limited edition codex, and rightfully so. That's been the way it's been handled with the Orc Codex, Chaos Knights, Leagues of Votan. So we're just playing by the same rules, but it kind of sucks to say I have all these spicy rules that I can't use save for practice matches, at your favorite local store or in your house. So I'm with you, Matt. I think the army box sets, while they're awesome, they kind of scratch an itch. They give you a lot of neat models, especially new ones most of the time. Just make it a rule, General Codex comes out a month after the army box so that you can actually use them in tournaments. Come on, GW. Let's knock that thing out. Come on.
And then I think the other thing, really quick, I just want to hit on it before we wrap up for the day. The rules are just getting more and more complicated. There's a lot of interactions that are weird and make you do algebra, which you never thought you would have to do after you turn 20. Like the interaction between, just as an example, fights first versus fights last, and what happens when they're fighting each other. Do they fight as normal? Which one is better? Like, I shouldn't need to do PEMDAS to play a tabletop war game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Matt. And I think the only plus that's come out of that is, while GW hasn't always come out in a timely manner to address how this is supposed to work, again, going back to our community, we've had plenty of content creators that specifically will go through and say, all right, it's not in the official rulebook laid out like this, but you would have a table of, at the top are the fights first, and that's people that charged or people that have a fights first ability, and then you have fights normal, so the interaction of, if nobody charged and we're in an ongoing combat, you follow the rules in the basic codex about alternating activations relative to whose turn it is. And then you have fights last, and how to move up or down that little ladder based upon other abilities and traits. So it's been really nice, but it just kind of sucks that the rules get more and more complicated, and you have to kind of have that all locked into your brain come any match just to have a decent chance of performing well. So yeah, definitely I think one of the nice things heading into a new edition is likely a rebalancing of rules, if not a redo, where we'll see, you know, the current rule set totally revamped in a new book, and hopefully making it even more streamlined than how we started ninth edition.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
and friends, we could probably go on forever, and maybe we will do some of that as we start the new year and begin, you know, some of our own, you know, New Year's resolutions of what we're going to do differently and how we're going to act it. But until then, we're just going to kind of begin wrapping up here. So just as usual, some algorithm stuff for you, friends. A reminder to check out our socials if you're not there already. GEF does have a Facebook and Discord group for you to check out. So check us out at Gamers of the Eastern Fringe, either on Facebook or Discord. We also do have an Instagram account, which is GEF_community. And you can check things out. Feel free to contact us there and check us out. You can find myself and Matt there under those names, and you'll be able to interact with us there. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff to help the channel grow. If you're listening to us, leave us a 5-star review. It does help improve and give us a wider audience of folks that are looking for similar content that you're enjoying as well. So, Matt, anything else to say to our fine viewers before we say goodbye?
You know what? I want to do a little wish listing. One really quick wish list.
Do it.
Plastic Commander Farsight in 2023.
There you go.
It's my wish list.
There you go. Oh gosh, what do I want? I really just want Gaz to fight Angron. That's all I want.
I mean, we just
want
gotta hang out in like March after the model comes out.
Yeah, but like I want Gaz to kill him, like perma kill him.
Oh, that doesn't. He's a demon.
Yeah, but Gaz, remember, orcs believe things, so orcs could effectively kill something. But,
true. Oh well, true.
But that's just me being an orc player. Be like, I just want Gaz to get revenge for Yark. Though I do like the theory that Yark faked his death to get Gaz to fight Angron. Therefore, he's using his enemy, to take on another enemy.
I haven't heard that one. I have not heard that one.
Yeah, the Yark is just sitting there snickering somewhere, being like, "All right, Gaz is going to be pissed, and we're going to have him fight Angron and retake Armageddon. Then we'll kick Gaz out and keep going."
10th edition Astra Militarum are just going to get Yark in a dreadnought. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, man, I've heard that too. They should just put a person, like, oh, my word, it'd be amazing. But I'd love to see the Power Claw equivalent on a dreadnought. Like, they have, the Redemptor dreadnoughts have fists, but I want to see a giant orc Power Claw on that dreadnought. But, we can dream, folks, and dream big. So again, friends, thank you so much for being with us here in this episode. Matt and I certainly look forward to dropping some more content with you in the new year of 2023. So in the meantime, do take care of yourselves. Keep hobbying, keep enjoying it. And until then, we'll see you again.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.